Hello everyone, Ben here from TheVirtualEconomist, and welcome to part 4 in my Keys to Riches series. Since the last episode, I've actually gotten a lot more subscribers and a lot more people asking the question, when will the next episode be released? So I decided, I might as well just release the next episode. Anyway, so here we are, and I might as well just hop right on into the first trade. Alright, so the first trade I got was actually really good, and a great way to start off this episode. So basically, if you remember from last episode, I have 28 keys, and I'm basically just looking to buy some quick sells. I find this guy on Outpost, and he has a really ambiguous trade. He just has like 8 unusuals, and then he says quick sell. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's good quick sell or not, I don't know. But I go ahead and add the guy and asked him what kind of discount he was looking for, and he said around 30% off. And I was able to actually get 2 unusuals for the series at around 33% off after negotiations. I actually was able to pick up 3 unusuals off him, but I didn't have enough keys in the series, so I was really salty in the sense that I couldn't actually buy all 3 of them for the series. So the unusuals I got for this series were basically a kilowatt Geisha Boy, which is a medic unusual. I was able to get it for 11 keys. I really tried to get it for 10 keys because it is a 3rd gen, but he really didn't want to go lower than 11. But at the end of the day, just picking up multiple quick sells off the same guy pretty much negates the fact that I'm going to have to pay a little bit more than I want for this hat. The other unusual I got was actually the reason why I was able to compromise at 11 keys, per se. It was actually a steaming Dr. Dapper's Tapper. I probably mispronounced that. But anyway, it's a hat for the soldier. Its effect was steaming, and the hat is worth 13.5 keys on Backpack.tf. And when I look at that hat, I think that's a really easy sell, and I might even be able to sell it for pure. The thing is, soldier hats are rarely that cheap. Getting a 13.5 key soldier hat, it's a 2nd gen effect, it's alright, but just getting one for that cheap is really rare. And for 9 keys, I really couldn't go wrong with that. If you want to know, the unusual I kept for myself was actually a kilowatt Handyman's handle for the pyro. I actually kind of like the look of that, so I figured I'll just keep it for myself for now. Maybe I'll make some profit on it later on, but I don't need to include that in the series. Like the soldier hat, I got it for 9 keys, but with some weird negotiations for like a key and ref, and that's why you see the random ref there. But, I'm not going to worry myself with that, because, I'm going to keep that hat. Anyway, here's the trade. So as you can tell, I'm trading a bunch of my keys for his stuff and then that random assortment of ref like I was talking about. I'm spending 20 keys of the series for these hats because the Geisha Boy was 11 and the Dr. Dapper's Tapper was in fact 9 keys. So pretty awesome to add 2 new unusuals to the unusual trading series, and we'll see where we get from there. Okay, so it's been a day since I last bought the hats. I was on Vatican City and I saw this guy selling this Australian flamethrower. This is actually something I'm going to talk about in my unusual trading guide part 5, where I talk about good offers. Basically, Australians, they always sell for pure. And I knew that if I were to make an offer with one of my unusuals, it would actually be really good for me, because unusuals don't actually often sell for pure. So basically, even if I overpaid a little bit on the Australian, I would still be making massive profit due to the fact that I quick bought my other 2 hats. So basically, I offer him the Geisha Boy since I know the Dr. Dapper's Tapper will be much easier to sell. After some negotiation, I was able to get him to trade his Australian for my hat plus 3 keys. Which you might be thinking, well, that's a bad deal for you, because my unusual is 17 keys and I'm adding 3 keys, meaning I'm paying 20 keys for an Australian that is Backpack.tf price at 19. But like I was saying, this is actually very good for me. The Australian right now on the market is only selling for 18 keys, so that's basically what I value it at. So it is 2 key overpay for me, but really once I sell it, I'll be able to sell it for 18 keys pure. And since I spent 11 keys on the hat plus the 3 keys I added to the Australian, I'm spending 14 keys and getting 18 back, which as you can tell is 4 key profit, and that is very good. So of course, I'm just going to go ahead and accept the trade. Alright, so I'm just going to press that magical button, and we should be able to get the Australian pretty soon. Alright, so it does look like I have one new item right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and accept that, and there it is, the Australian flamethrower in all of its glory. I think it looks pretty awesome, so I'll show you guys what it looks like right here. As you can tell, it looks like pure gold. Who's not going to like it? Alright, on to the next trade. Alright, so the next trade I got was actually another pretty nice trade. There's this guy who was on my friends list. He saw that I had traded for the Australian, and he messaged me. He was like, hey, I'm interested in that. And I was like, okay, well, what could he offer? He had unusuals, so he wanted to offer the unusuals, but of course I was like, I'm only going to accept good overpay as if they were just pure keys, because of course Australians sell for pure. And he basically was like, okay, I can do that. So he did in fact wind up offering 2 unusuals. They were both 2 very low tiers, but they're both not bad. They were basically a smoking officer's Ushanka and a steaming hive minder. The Ushanka being for the heavy and the minder for the pyro. On backpack.tf, they're both worth 13.5 keys, which adds up to 27 keys, meaning that I'm essentially buying this as a quick sell with my 18 keys for 2 unusuals for 27 keys. It's not like the most amazing quick sell offer out there, but here's what I'm going to say. Getting a bunch of low tiers is actually a very good idea, because if you have a lot of unusuals, you can just sit on them for a while. You don't have to re-quick sell them. You can just leave them there, and then maybe you'll get a peer offer sometime. And that is very good to think about, because at the end of the day, this is how the really high tier unusual traders make profit. They have so many unusuals, they can just sit on them for days on end and just be like, well, an offer will come someday. So that's really good to apply to this, because now that I'm having multiple unusuals, I'm not going to have to re-quick sell them immediately, meaning that I'll get better offers and more profit. So this marks a really good spot in the unusual trading series where I start transitioning into trading for multiple unusuals, and that's awesome. Anyway, there are a couple more notes I had on the hats in general. The Officer's Ushanka was actually duped, but it had Halloween spells and white paint on it, and for some people that makes it more attractable to them. But honestly, of course, I'm not going to charge any more because of that. And the Steaming Hive Minder, I hate that. The range on it is 11 to 16 keys. Ouch, that's a really large range. That basically means that it's okay for offers, but I'm not going to be able to quick sell that just because people are going to look at the discount from the low end and be like, well, that's a 1 key discount from the low end, and they're going to be like, no. So I wasn't really planning on quick selling it anyway, but I'm just saying I couldn't really quick sell it just because of the range. So just keep that in mind. Alrighty then, everybody, so here is the actual trade. I'm trading my Australian for his 2 unusuals. He's actually adding a 6 ref heavy cosmetic as a suite. I just asked if he could add anything more to the trade, and he was actually able to add something. So, it doesn't hurt to ask for sweets every once in a while. Alright, let's make this trade. Alright, here's the stuff. You can see the heavy unusual. There we can see the pyro unusual and the cosmetic. Alright, so, pretty nice. Anyway, so here's what I have right now. I know I haven't showed you guys for a little bit. So basically, the 3 unusuals, which all, for some reason, are worth 13.5 keys. Then I have 5 keys of the cosmetic, and then just some ref. So that's pretty awesome. Let's move on to the next trade. Alright, so I know I don't actually show how I list my items on Outpost very often, so I figured I'd show for these 3 hats, given the fact that I'm selling them all for full price. The Dapper I'm selling for 15 keys, which if you think about it, it's worth 13.5, so why am I trying to sell it for more than backpack.tf and pure? Well, the reason is just because, like I was saying, it's just so good to have a soldier unusual that cheap. Like, I'm sure I'll be able to get a pure offer, and maybe even having a higher buyout might make people offer higher. The other 2, as you can tell here, I am just selling them for 13 keys as a buyout, just rounding right down to 13. People don't like when you round up when they're in the middle of keys, so, it makes sense. For each of them, I just basically told a little bit about their strengths, so maybe I might convince somebody to buy my hats over others. So yeah, that's basically it. As you can tell, I actually did use some colors, and honestly, I think the colors really help, especially with the fact that the Outpost theme is now very dark with the new UI update, and I think a lot of people will see the trade and be like, oh, I want to click on that now. Alrighty then, so as you can tell, I'm actually doing a 1-for-1 trade here. I'm selling my Smoking Officer's Ushanka, and I am getting a Blizzardy Storm Birdcage for the Pyro. The Blizzardy Storm Birdcage is worth 15 keys, and the reason why I wanted to do this was because his unusual was duped, and mine had some spells and paint that made it a little bit more valuable to him. But I feel like this is pretty good for me, just because quite a lot of low tier traders, they don't care about it being duped. So really, just being able to get this trade and just getting an upgrade here of around 1.5 keys is definitely good for me. I could see why he'd wants to do the trade, but honestly, dupe does not matter that much for low tier trading like this, so really I feel like this is a good trade for me. Alright, there we go. So we got the Birdcage. Alright, sweet. I'll see you guys in the next trade. Alright, so as you can tell, I am now selling my Steaming Hive Minder here on Vatican City, and I'm selling it for a Blizzardy Storm Capitoon for the Demo Man, plus 2 keys. The Demo Unusual is only 11 keys, and I feel like that's just tremendous value for only 11 keys. That's a nice looking demo hat with a nice looking effect for only 11 keys. I might have a personal bias towards that hat, but I really think it could sell well, maybe even for full price and pure. And like you've seen before, I like downgrading my unusuals with pure, and I always feel like that's good because getting the pure is always better than having unusuals. Plus, after completing this trade, I will now have 7 keys, so I might be able to buy another quick sell. You can't buy quick sells with 5 keys, but I might be able to find one for 7 keys. Anyway, so let's just grab the item. Here we are, we have new items. I'll just go ahead and accept that right here. Here you can see the 3 items. And there's the unusual. Cool. Alright everybody, so this is what I have right now. So with the 2 keys, we now have approximately 7 keys. This amount of ref plus this, which I still need to sell for pure. And then we got the Blizzardy Storm Capitoon, the Blizzardy Storm Birdcage, and the Steaming Dr. Dapper's Topper. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so just a few minutes later, honestly, on this trade server, I got this guy trading me. He wants to buy my Birdcage at a discounted price here. I'm actually selling it here for 12 keys and 6 ref, which, if you know, the hat is actually 15 keys. And I bought the Ushinka, which I traded for the Blizzardy Storm Birdcage, which I sold here for 12 keys, meaning that I made 3 key profit, and that's pretty awesome. Alright, so I got the trade when I was basically just advertising selling low tier unusuals. The other guy added me and basically just wanted to see what unusuals I had for sale. Of course I showed him what I had and told him that I would be able to discount the Birdcage a little bit because it was duped, and of course he was like, okay, I'll buy that one instead. So he was one of the people who wasn't buying a quick sell, but he wanted a little bit of a discount just because he was paying in pure, and that makes sense. Okie dokie, so that is actually going to be the last trade of the video. I think I'm going to stop this one right here, and as you can tell, I just have the cosmetic there, a bunch of ref here, 19 keys, and then the 2 low tier unusuals. This will actually be the first time that at the end of the episode, I won't actually have everything in fully pure. But you know, that's how it is, and with low tier unusuals, they're going to take a little bit longer to sell, especially if I'm trying to get backpack.tf or more than backpack.tf like I am on the topper. But anyway, that's pretty much going to be it. And also, if you haven't noticed, I've definitely far exceeded 1,000 subscribers. I was going to do a 1,000 subscriber special, but now I'll probably be doing a 2,000 subscriber special. I'm going to be very original, and I'm going to do a Q&A video. So, post your questions down below that you want me to answer. They can be trading questions, but they could also be questions about my real life, or just anything you randomly want to ask me. I really don't care, but of course, ones that I like better, I'm going to pick, and ones I don't, I'm not going to pick. So, you gotta ask questions that you think I'm going to answer. Or you could just go with a troll question, maybe I'd still pick it. You don't really know. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to leave your comments down below, and I will see ya in the next one. Goodbye.